You said this fortress would never fall while your men defend it. They still defend it. They have died defending it.
Hi everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now today you find me back in Wolvercote Cemetery. It's a place that I've been to before when I came here to do Sir Roger Bannister's final resting place, his grave. But today we have come to see the final resting place and the grave of JRR Tolkien. Now, those of you that are into your books and love reading, and those of you that are into sort of Middle-earth sort of stuff, The Hobbit and all that sort of stuff, hopefully you're going to like it. I've always said this, I've never been a big reader, so I remember at school reading The Hobbit. That's about it really. I'm more into reading people's factual sort of biography on their lives and things like that rather than sort of fictional stuff. But don't get me wrong, I will watch fictional films. I love watching films, so of course those sorts of films, Lord of the Rings, all the rest of it, I'll watch. Yeah, so let's get on with it, shall we? Find out a little bit more about JRR Tolkien. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, CBE, 3rd of January 1892 to the 2nd of September 1973, was an English writer and philologist, easy for me to say. He was the author of the high fantasy works of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien was born on the 3rd of January 1892 in Bloemfontein in the Orange Free State, later annexed by the British Empire, now Free State Province in the Republic of South Africa. When he was 3, he went to England with his mother and brother on what was intended to be a lengthy family visit. His father, however, died in South Africa of rheumatic fever before he could join them. This left the family without an income, so Tolkien's mother took him to live with her parents in King's Heath, Birmingham. On the 3rd of November 1920, Tolkien was demobbed and left the army, retaining his rank of lieutenant. His first civilian job after World War I was at the Oxford English Dictionary, where he worked mainly on the history and etymology of words of Germanic origin beginning with the letter W. In 1920, he took up a post as reader in English language at the University of Leeds, becoming the youngest member of the academic staff there. While at Leeds, he produced a Middle English vocabulary and definitive edition of Sir Gawain and The Green Light with E.V. Gordon. Both became academic standard works for several decades. He translated Sir Gawain Pearl and Sir Orfeo in 1925. He returned to Oxford as Rawlinson and Bosworth Professor of Anglo-Saxon with a fellowship at Pembroke College. In mid-1919, he began to tutor undergraduates privately, most importantly those of Lady Margaret Hall and St Hugh's College, given that the women's colleges were in great need of good teachers in the early years, and Tolkien, as a married professor, then still not common, was considered suitable as a bachelor don would not have been. During his time at Pembroke College, Tolkien wrote The Hobbit and the first 2 volumes of The Lord of the Rings, while living at the North Moor Road in North Oxford. From 1925 to 1945, Tolkien was the Rawlinson and Bosworth Professor of Anglo-Saxon and a Fellow of Pembroke College, both at the University of Oxford. He then moved within the same university to become the Merton Professor of English Language and Literature and Fellow of Merton College, and held these positions from 1945 until his retirement in 1959. Tolkien was a co-member of the informal literary discussion group, the Inklings. He was appointed a Commander of the Order of the British Empire by Queen Elizabeth II on 28th of March 1972. Tolkien's fancy books on Middle-earth, especially The Lord of the Rings and Silmarillion, drew on a wide array of influences, including his philological interest in language, Christianity, mythology, archaeology, ancient and modern literature, and personal experience. He was a gifted linguist, unlike me, influenced by Germanic, Celtic, Finnish and Greek language and mythology. Tolkien died on the 2nd of September 1973 from a bleeding ulcer and a chest infection at the age of 81. So there's all the information there on JRR Tolkien. Even when I did the research on that, reading it, to me it was a load of gobbledygook. It was just too much and blah blah blah, and as you can tell, I'm not a linguist. I can speak rubbish all day, but I can't speak in academic terms. Anyway, so JRR Tolkien there, of course, amazing author, very clever, and of course, you know, the academic work that he did as well, just second to none really. He's brilliant. Anyway, I think I found it. I think Mr. Tolkien would probably be disappointed with the way I read his information out, but I'm sure he'll forgive me. Here we are. Edith Mary Tolkien, Lupin, 1889 to 1971. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, Baron, 1892 to 1973. Now, some of you keen people that are into stuff might understand what that is. I haven't got a clue. I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't read it. But if it means anything in terms of his literacy work or anything like that, then please let me know. Okay, so what I have got to say is a massive thank you to JRR Tolkien. Like I say, I'm not a big literacy person in terms of reading. I like to watch things. I'm more of a visual person, but I know lots of you have asked me to come and see his grave. So, but I do like the films that have transpired from his books and from his writings. So, massive thank you. I wonder if he, you know, if he, in this day and age, knew how much of a success those films were going to be. I wonder, you know, I wonder what his thoughts would be. That's what I always think. People from the past, what would their thoughts be on people that put their work into another format? You know, into films or into TV series or box sets or whatever. That always intrigues me as to what their thought process would be towards that. But let me know your thoughts on it. Leave me a comment down below. But yeah, a very, very successful writer. And I'm sure, I always like to hear from people that have been influenced by someone like him. You know, are you a writer? Through reading JRR Tolkien's work, did that then inspire you to go on and writing, even if it's like at an amateur level or just for your own pleasure, or, you know, if you put it in a magazine or a newspaper or something like that? That's the sort of stories that I like to hear, the inspiration behind some of these people that I go to visit, that they leave. Like when I went to see Tony Hart, lots of people said then that they went into art because of Tony Hart. Or when I went to see Steve Clark from Led Zeppelin, lots of people then went into guitar playing and things like that. So it's always good to get an idea of the inspiration that that person has had on you, depending on what their skills and achievements were in life. I love it when people look back confused. Why is that man talking to a camera at a cemetery? Anyway, on that note, I'm not going to try the church because I tried it last time I was here with Sir Roger Bannister. But on that note, thank you all once again for watching. Please leave your comments down below and let me know what you think. Give us a thumbs up if you like it and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell, and I will see you all on the next one. Take it easy.